My name is Mary Docken, Vice President of Outreach at IntelliSpark. I am delighted to welcome you to School Counselor Central Chat, an occasional series of thought leadership conversations focusing on student success, sponsored by IntelliSpark. Today, our conversation will focus on the following questions. In this time of teaching and learning during COVID-19, how can we best meet students where they are? Joining me today for this conversation are three special guests, Rachel and Samri Jorgensen and Bryn Salampa. Since last spring, like countless families across the country, Rachel, Samri, and Bryn have experienced teaching and learning from home. Rachel serves as a coordinator of work-based learning in a large Minnesota suburban district. She's also an assistant professor in the Bethel University graduate program for preparing special education teachers. A frequent contributor to the IntelliSpark blog, I've enjoyed getting to know Rachel and her passion for student success, focusing on developing equitable practice and culturally responsive teaching. Samri is Rachel's daughter and is in 6th grade. Bryn is Rachel's niece and Samri's cousin and is a 3rd grader. As we explore today's questions, I would love to hear from all of you. What has this school year been like?
Well, Mary, thank you so much. So the reason I have Bryn and Samri here with me today is because we figured we could give you the elementary perspective from Bryn and the middle school perspective from Samri, and then I teach high school. So maybe we should start with elementary school. What has distance learning been like?
Well, it's definitely been different from like normal school, and it's some things have been hard and some things have like been really good. A hard thing is that it's kind of hard to focus when it's like on a like video. It's a lot easier to focus when you're like in person. So I feel like that's a difficult part about distance learning. And a nice part about it is that you kind of get to, for our school, we get to start with whichever subject we want to. Like we could start with like unit studies and then go to like math, and you could go in whatever order we wanted, which was really nice. Yeah.
That's cool. So your teacher gives you some choices with how you do it?
Yeah, you can go in like whatever order you want to do it in, but you just have to get the assignments done.
Awesome. All right, Tom, how about middle school? How's it been for you?
Well, distance learning, well, sometimes a good part in distance learning is sometimes some of my teachers, they tell jokes. Sometimes there's like trivia that makes it more fun, and you don't really exactly have to wear a mask in there. But a good thing about distance, but not so good thing about distance learning is I guess you don't really get to see your friends, and like Bryn said, it's harder to focus.
And at the high school level, I'd say one of the positives that I've seen is some of my students that are more shy or withdrawn, if I can get them into a one-on-one Google Meet or Zoom where they are just in the room with me, they're more willing to open up and to talk. And I'm hoping that when they return to school, they become stronger communicators because they're more comfortable. And the difficulties have been immeasurable at the high school level, as many teachers know, because there's such a disconnect with our students, and we have so many students that are facing difficulties with their resources, whether it's their Wi-Fi or the stability in their home, space in their home. And we're also competing with a lot of media that is constant in the lives of high school students, whether it's, social media apps on their phones or Netflix or lots of distractions. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love the part about getting to choose what you want to take, having that that choice sounds amazing, and I can sure appreciate just the flexibility that you both talked about. And one of the things that I'm wondering about is you're starting to go back to school, hybrid. What has that been like for both of you, Bryn and Samri? What has that experience been like?
You want to start again, Brent?
Sure. It's been really nice because you get to see your friends a lot, and it's still nice because you get to do like hybrid where you like get like kind of like a day off of school, but you still have to like do the work and stuff. Like it's more like it's really nice to do hybrid because you get a little bit of both. Because I like distance learning in ways and I liked in person in ways. So it's nice to do both, having them like together.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent. What do you think, Samri? How has hybrid been?
Well, it's good because you do get a little bit of distance learning, and even though we haven't done full like in school yet, you still get like through those days. And so yeah, it's good and not so good on both sides. So
And at the high school level, as much as we can get our students in front of us, we can help them so much more. And we can build a connection in person so much more easily than we can over the computer because we can minimize those distractions. And one of the biggest things and challenges that I'm facing at my building right now, and I would challenge any teacher to consider this, is there's still a lot of fear about COVID. There are still a lot of concerns about health and safety. However, we have to make sure that the first greeting our students get isn't, oh, pull your mask up. Oh, did you sanitize your hands? It needs to be, hi, welcome back. We're so glad you're here. We need to meet them with warmth because so many of them have been so isolated. While we still hold them accountable for all the safety practices, the first connection needs to be, hi, we are so happy you're here. And then we can talk about the COVID safety measures or all of their many missing assignments. A lot of students, as they're coming back, are feeling so bombarded. I have one student who, didn't have Wi-Fi for 3 weeks because of issues at his house. And once you come back online, he has 3 weeks of missing work in all of his classes. And that's so overwhelming. So the main thing right now, I feel, for any teacher at any level is empathy, empathy, empathy. Keep putting yourselves in the shoes of these students. This situation is not something they chose, and so much has been taken from them that we don't understand. And what they need most is our love and our care.
Well, and I know, Rachel, you've written about teaching with empathy, the missing instructional link. And as a frequent contributor to our blog series, that is one that I know has really garnered within the education community a lot of interest. And I think that empathy goes to the heart of what learning is about, and that relationships really, really matter. Rachel, one of the things, you're a parent, so you're juggling what many educators have faced, being at home, teaching, having children at home. What insights have you gained that you're taking back into the classroom that this experience is teaching you, that is impacting your teaching?
Well, I have to say that I have been so amazed by what young people have done. I know that we talk a lot about how amazing it is that teachers have converted their whole practice into an online format, and that is so impressive. But even more so is the fact that these young people and all of our young people have been forced into these very independent situations. Like Samri and I were talking, her dad and I work all day. So she is on her own. There's a lot of independence that has come out in our students. They have risen to the challenge. And just think about ourselves as adults when we have to be somewhere at a certain time that's a computer appointment. It's easy to lose track of time and be 5 minutes late. I don't know. Do you have that problem, Bryn?
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, cause like recess ends like right before like our meeting, so we have to like quick log on to our meeting.
Right?
But most of the time we're pretty good. We're usually only like 1 or 2 minutes late.
Yeah. So student independence is something I'm just amazed at. The way that even my high school students have learned to set alarms on their phones, keep track of themselves, that takes a lot of development in your frontal lobe that doesn't finish until we're in our 20s. And these students are pulling it off. So it's amazing.
Well, and I do think the life skills
Yeah.
that students are learning and that you've both described are going to serve you well as you continue to learn and grow through this experience. So are there any other final thoughts that you have as you thought about our conversation today and what your experience is like?
I think Bryn had 2 things that she really likes that her teachers do when they're online. Would you want to share those?
What's really nice that my teacher does is when we were doing distance learning, she would do office hours, which was, so she would have office hours in the morning. That was like right before the morning meeting, and office hours that were after the afternoon meeting, which was really nice. So if we needed help with anything, we could just log on to those.
And then how about your learning board? That was a cool idea.
Yeah, and our teacher makes this learning board that has like all the things that we have to do on this like one page. And it has like all the links to the videos and stuff, which is really nice and helpful that we don't have to like go to all these different sites to find all this stuff.
And I think that hits the nail on the head. So the casual time to chit chat in the office hours and give kids help one-on-one, and then making things as clear as you can, exactly what you need to do each day. My big tip for teachers, what I've seen is in the high school level, try your best to keep the literacy demands as low as you can. Write your directions as concisely as possible, because our students are managing these huge amounts of text, and it just clobbers them if they have any difficulties with their literacy, which many of them do. As teachers, we're so accustomed to reading hundreds of emails every day and processing them. Our students aren't living in that world. Even though they're communicating via text all day, those are little baby short messages. The other one too that I'm hearing from students so much is that there are so many assignments. So as much as we can consolidate and cut out any fluff that isn't tied to a very essential learning target, we will really help our high school students. And how about you? What's helpful at middle school? Online learning.
I mean, the teachers, they usually always say that you can always pop back into the meet to like ask questions, and it's good to ask questions, and they always try to make it as clear as possible what you're trying to do.
Awesome. I love it. So there's our number 1 tips.
Those are great tips and really appreciate it. I love the board, the office hours being really clear. I want to add a final tip, though, that you shared with our readers, Rachel, and that is for teachers to smile.
Where's your smile?
I see great smiles. So,
Yes.
this has been just a delightful conversation, and I cannot thank you all enough. On behalf of School Counselor Central and IntelliSpark, I want to thank you guys for joining us. This conversation has provided us with some great insights and tips to help us reflect on our experience of supporting students. And that's what's really critical. We do need to listen to our students. Now, we want you to put this into practice, and we want you to think about how you can share ideas with other folks. At IntelliSpark, our student success tools make it easier for counselors to coordinate care. We think it's important to break down silos in schools and with families to ensure that every kid is known, not just for their grades and scores, but for who they are. I invite you to learn more about IntelliSpark as We look forward to continuing to host these future chats.